Thanks, Joshua. All right, are there any revisions to tonight's agenda? No? Any public comment? Public correspondence, there is one letter attached. You can view that through the board docs online if you're interested in reading that letter. Approval of minutes, myself and there were two of us absent, so not voting on that. Yeah, should be. Yeah, it was myself and Elizabeth were not here, so it would be Quincy, Katie, and Jerry and Shannon are the.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
I think. Moved by Jerry, seconded by Shannon, all in favor.
It wasn't seconded.
It was, oh, sorry, that's okay.
I just wanted to be.
I just. I know, sorry. Quincy, second, Quincy, wait, sorry.
Bennett.
Yes,
Okay.
Bennett.
Okay.
So, sorry, and that is approved by those four.
Okay.
My apologies. Sorry, Shannon, I looked right at you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just keep on my mouth.
It's a 1 minute bureau. Next time.
Especially since it's recorded.
Yeah.
Time for a highlight of the evening is our student trustee report. Jake Duncan.
All right, as per usual, start with the high school, work my way down through the schools, so. At the high school, let's see, first, we had our play, which was Clue, I believe it was here. It was a great performance, very well attended, very good animation by the students, we had over 20 students performing in the show. Heard some very good things about that, so that's exciting. In the world of music, there was the Western A Choir Festival down in Hamilton 2 weeks ago. There was a jazz night at the Pack before Thanksgiving, and there's actually a band concert tonight in 50 minutes. So sadly, we won't be able to attend that, but maybe we can hear it. So maybe.
We don't hear it.
That would be nice. And then there is also the orchestra concerts next week on Tuesday, also in the Pack. So very exciting. Last week, there was the winter sports kickoff by the Booster Club, and that was for just the Booster Clubs. Support for wrestling, cheer, swimming, boys and girls basketball, and speech and debate. So that was a good way for all the athletes to kind of recognize who was actually funding them for their endeavors. On Friday, there was the Mega Bowl, which is where the boys and girls varsity basketball players play against the staff and the police officers. They lost. I don't actually know the score. I know that the students lost the staff and officers by 3 points. I don't know what the score is, so I apologize for that. But it's a fundraiser for the police department scholarship, so it's just a good it's a good way for the community to come and see kind of what's going on, and also it's for a very good cause. Moving down to speech and debate. With this, I feel like I kind of want to address the elephant in the room with this, being that at our tournament at Ronan, we beat Columbia Falls for the first time in 3.5 years. So that was very exciting part of that. In case you're wondering, I got second in my personal event, sadly. We also had a tournament this past weekend in Hamilton, at which we got second place as a team. So it's very, yeah, it's very good. And then also, I'm sure as you are all aware, we had the work session last night just about the transportation. I felt that was very productive and raised some good challenges, questions, and possible solutions. So I feel like that was a good step in the right solution. Yesterday during Flex, there was the Humanities Montana speaker, and he came in to talk about free speech in the Sedition Acts during World War I. Very interesting for really anyone. I was going to say the Gov students, but pretty interesting just to see as a whole. Also in the black box will be Nancy Caudry, who is, if you went to the work session at the school a month ago, all of her art was hung up around the school, so she'll be coming in to kind of talk about her little gallery, which is called Forever Glacier, and just doing a little bit of a history lesson on that, so that's pretty exciting. Last week, we did a teaching contain, brought in the contraband dog, which is done periodically throughout the year, and just kind of had the dog sniff around, so good to know that we are being accountable for anything that is going on in the school, just a nice safety precaution. We're almost done with the second semester, which is crazy. I don't know how that happened. It's coming up next month. We'll be hitting halfway point of the year, which is exciting. It's good to know that's going by fast. And then lastly, our Whitefish High School Student Council is hosting the Cozy for a Cause tomorrow. So pretty much what happened is we adopted 2 local families and we're going to be raising money through this dress up day tomorrow. So you pay some money, you can dress up in pajamas or comfy clothes, excuse me, tomorrow. And then all the money that we raise will be for gifts, toiletries, necessities to go to these kids. So just a good way to get our student council involved, help them out in the community. Moving on to the middle school, also starting off with music. All 3 band, choir, and orchestra are hosting their winter/Christmas concerts in the PAC this week and next week. So keeping up with the music theme. In the meeting last night, perhaps on the doors around the school, you noticed that there were decorations. That is the little competition hosted by the student council. It's the annual homeroom holiday door decorating, and they're just competing for special prizes. That's kind of a fun way to get involved in the winter season. The middle school Girls Up Club is hosting the Snug and Sweet coat drive. So that'll continue for a few more weeks, and students are bringing in just any winter wear that they don't really need anymore, and just donating that to anyone who should need it. I believe those will be put in the Pause boutique down at the high school, so for students to get access to those clothes there. Sports wise, the middle school 7th and 8th grade boys basketball season is coming to a close. Both of those 8th grade and 7th grade teams will be competing this week for their last games. So it was I don't know, I feel like at my last meeting, I was just talking about when they were starting, now we're talking about their ending, but it sounds like they had a good season. There was good turnout at all the games. And then lastly, holiday dress up days are this week and next week, or excuse me, just next week. Some of their days are just gonna be Rudolph Red Day, Grinch Green Day, Holiday Glow Up, Sparkle and Shine Day, Winter Wonderland, Blue and White Day, Holiday Sweater or Shirt Day, etc. So anything you could think of Christmas related, they will be wearing it. And then moving down to Bull Down, the 2nd grade music program is December 12th from 5 to 6 p.m. I believe in the PAC. And that is a 2nd grade music program that's guaranteed to be good no matter what. They started their food drive this week, and then students will receive tickets to place in a drawing for a giant Squishmallow. So a little bit different than other prizes, but for an elementary school student, that's an amazing prize and another great way to get students involved, helping out in their community. Their first trimester report cards go out this Friday, and then keeping in theme with the rest of the schools, they'll be doing holiday dress up days next week. And kind of district wide, we are coming to Christmas. Everyone is kind of feeling the Christmas spirit and looking forward to a much needed break as we approach halfway mark. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for Jake?
I do. The speech and debate tournament is really long, right? So sounds like you guys have a really strong team this year. When is like state and qualify for state? How does that work?
So it is, let's see, we have 3 more tournaments until divisionals. If you
Okay.
get, I believe it's top, if you place in your events, that usually means top 8. Then you qualify for the state competition, which is the next week. And then 2 weeks after that, we have the national qualifiers competition, which is at Whitefish High School. If you'd like to judge, reach out to Sarah Miller and you can come judge the speech and debate team at the high school in February 14th to 15th. But yeah, we are looking pretty strong this season. I think we're having the biggest team on record this year, and we are coming for that first place in state position. We're a really good place to be in Columbia Falls.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Thank you so much, Jake, appreciate it. WEA update?
Just with recent events and the passing of a dear colleague of ours, Brandon Pusezi, it was just, we send our her support to her family and everything, but it just came to light of just how supportive our staff and our community are of one another. And so we just wanted to highlight all of the ways that Whitefish School District staff support each other throughout the year and build their community. We did some things around Thanksgiving and just moving through the holidays and everything, because those can always be tough times and joyous times. And so just ways that we make working more than a job. And so at Moldown, there's monthly treats. We have monthly gatherings. We go play mini golf, we go for walks and end up at Black Star or Tap House. We've played hula hut throwdown, which is really fun. It's games that the kids play, and we go in the gym and play as adults, and it is always an adventure. We do Secret Santas, we have our Christmas party, there's food trains, and then the Sunshine Committee, where the staff donate $20 for any engagements or marriages or deaths in the family, just to really support each other through that time. The middle school does similar things with the Whitefish Middle School Friends. They did a Thanksgiving breakfast where they all brought food for each other and shared a feast before the day started. They do Secret Santa and some axe throwing. At Hank Hatchets, they've gone and done axe throwing. As an organized event outside of school, just ways to get together. And then they celebrate Secretary's Day, Principal's Day, Lunch Ladies Day, Custodial and Nurses Day with the WMS Friends. And then the high school has been doing trivia night quarterly, and then they've got their Christmas party. But they, one of the staff members at the high school just said that there was a medical event, and they were just so touched by how much support and community was created. And I think that that can be said throughout all of our schools, that this is more than a job to us as teachers, and that we're all pretty darn thankful to be supported the way we are by one another. And so we just move into those holidays, just trying to find a little bit of joy in what we do. And I'm sorry I have to go. I have indoor soccer and a band of concerts.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being here. WCEA.
Well, I have been noticeably absent for the last while, which I promised to rectify from the last meeting. I'm going to start coming to the meetings and delivering a WCEA update. I'm a little bit scattered today, though I'm not real well prepared, but I will be in the future. But one thing that I wanted to mention was, which I don't think the board probably even knows, is that I'm actually a board member for our union, our statewide union for the Montana Federation of Public Employees. I am the vice chair of District 1, which is the entire Flathead Valley. There's a teacher in Kalispell who is the District 1 chair. But MFPE is motor carrier services and some of the lottery officials. It isn't just educators, and there's a large group of us across the state involved in many different careers, and there's a lot of really good things to share about that. And because I attend quarterly board meetings, sometimes they're in Helena, they're in different places. I've had access to a lot of different classified staff and certified staff and discussions about school boards and things like that. And we are very, very fortunate here in Whitefish to have a really superior school board. I'm also part of Public School Strong, which is a nationwide organization now, but it started in North Carolina with people wanting to affect change at the school board level. And that's basically where it starts, is at the school board level. Well, they went from North Carolina. They have an amazing story, and I'll tell that another time when I'm up here, but part of that group too. And so I just quickly wanted to say thank you guys for being a very supportive and very amazing school board for us. And I will start showing up with a great report. I'm gonna get some help from my friend here on how to write a fantastic report for the school board. Thank you.
Thanks you so much. So good to see you. We missed you. Okay, moving on. I feel so weird without my anchor here, I'm kind of lost, can you tell? Our discussion and action items, our Whitefish High School highlight is our MTSS.
Greetings from the curriculum department. Recently, the district MTSS team has been focused on the data surrounding absenteeism among our students. I'm sure we've discussed that with you before. In October, I had the opportunity to gain an insight firsthand regarding an exciting initiative that's happening at Whitefish High School. Their MTSS team has been committed this year to looking at the correlation between grade point average and the absentee rates. In addition, staff members are reaching out to students on a weekly basis regarding concerns they seek. I was so impressed with what they shared with me when I was there that I asked them to present it to all of you. Tonight, we had planned on having them share that specific data. However, we want to be thorough and include a visual presentation. And there was some miscommunication regarding that visual presentation. And I will take full responsibility for that. So instead, we'd like to postpone this presentation. We're going to hold off sharing it until after the new year so that you get the visual effects as well as the spoken presentation. I think that would be really beneficial for all of you. I appreciate you understanding, but I'd be more than happy to take any questions that you.
Sounds exciting, though. I'm excited to see what you have in store for us.
This wonder.
It is really good that the so dynamic, so exciting to see. I really was truly impressed by it, and I think you will be too. So I'm excited for them to come and share, not only, like I said, share not only it to spoken, but also the slide presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it. Okay, moving right along, but this is getting exciting.
Now it's getting really exciting.
Now it is really exciting.
So really so.
It's okay, no offense, Lisa. Next is the architect selection for the Whitefish High School expansion project. And Lindsay is gonna take over for Dave.
Thank you, Darcy.
Yes.
So as Darcy said, this is a very exciting agenda item. The architect interview committee has completed their interviews of 3 different firms. A&E Design received the highest overall score. Therefore, the committee recommends retaining A&E Design for architectural and engineering services, pending successful contract negotiations. Any questions?
Any questions for Lindsay? Is there any public comment?
Just wanted to jump up and introduce ourselves really quickly. My name is Shane Jacobs. I'm a Whitefish resident, also a father of 1 student over at Moldown. Next year will be 2. I'm here with Brad Dahl representing A&E Design and all of our consultants. We're just wanted to say we're very excited about the project. Really appreciate the opportunity. Look forward to working with all of you and the community, staff and students. So thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Back to the board for any discussion.
Shane lives in my neighborhood. I think it's so cool that we have, you know, a local invested firm, and I heard great things about the interviews. I wondered if maybe somebody on the interview committee would want to speak to some of the things that.
Wow, there's a lot that's happened since then. But,
Well, I would just say that as was pointed out, that, you know, it was a pretty rigorous, process. It was,
That's what I heard.
you know, all three firms presented very well. And we, you know, so we relied, on a matrix of points based on certain metrics. And as was mentioned, A&E came out, and I don't remember the exact level of the scoring, but it was clear, it was, and as I recall, they were also. And you can correct me on this, but I believe they were also number one on everyone's sheet.
That is correct. So all six interview committee members
Chose
scored
them.
A and E as their number one choice.
Great.
And I was just gonna say thank you to the committee, because I know that was a rigorous process
Yes.
and something that is long lasting in the decision of, so thank you guys for applying and thank you guys for all.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was, there was a real sense that everybody. White that, you know, vested in the
Yeah.
process and white, there was, you know, there were a lot of good comments and a lot of good. By all committee members of things, you know, to consider, I think the. The design of the questions was actually the tougher part of this, honestly. But it helped on the back end, arriving more easily in a proper training.
It was well thought out. It was a well thought out product that we
Mhm.
received. And it was really, so there was a lot of thought and love that was presented to us. It was great.
As you all know, I'm a big process guy and this process was, you know, done very well.
Well, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm thrilled to move that we approve as presented.
Yes.
Sorry. I got it now, I got it. I'm here.
We did switch seats, it's right.
It's
really painful.
Moved by Katie, seconded by Quincy, all in favor. And Josh Rainey is online. I don't know if she is muted.
She is muted.
Which one is she?
Dr. D.
That one?
Yeah.
I know.
I,
Switch chairs.
I know. Between Dave and struggling. Moving seats.
Okay, you guys heard my eye.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, thank you, Rainey.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, are you ready, Lucy? You're doing double duty over there.
I'm ready.
Okay, up next is owner's representation selection for the Whitefish High School expansion, again presented by Lucy.
Okay, thank you. So similar to the architect interview process, the owner's representative interview committee has completed their interviews of 3 firms. Hell Construction Advisors received the highest overall score. Therefore, the committee recommends retaining Hell Construction Advisors for owner's representative services pending successful contract negotiations. Any questions?
Well, I guess my question is, I noticed this on both of them. So how does this work with pending? We don't have a contract with them yet?
No, we do not, and that is the next step.
And is this normal for the way we do it?
That is normal,
Okay.
yes. Yes, this is the
Just-
proper sequence
Okay.
of steps in this process.
Otherwise, you put a contract in place and where it says no. And everybody's wasted.
Any other clarifying questions? Public comment?
Hi, everybody. I'm Luke Hammond and I own Tel Construction Advisors. It's good to see everyone for the first time and some for the second time. I'm excited for the project. I think it's going to be a really good project and I'm excited to be a part of the team. It's got the makings to be a really strong team and just keep building upon that. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for the opportunity and I'm really excited to be a part of the team.
Me too.
We approve as presented.
Second.
Moved by Katie, seconded by Jerry, all in favor?
I,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Real great next step in this long process. So we're very excited. As a unit.
The fun part's coming up, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll get our fair share eventually, yeah.
It'll get fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you, thanks for being here. Interlocal agreement, elementary high school.
Presented for the board's consideration and approval is the renewed interlocal agreement between the elementary and high school districts. The purpose of the agreement is to create flexibility with respect to allocation of expenses between the two districts. You may remember, we do this renewal every so often. It's usually a 3-year renewal. So believe it or not, it's been 3 years since we renewed this contract. The term of this new contract is from February 1, 2025 to January 31st of 2028. I also noticed that in the attachment, I didn't correct the name of the board chair. I apologize, it still says Katie Clark, who was the board chair back then in 2025. I will correct it to state Darcy Schellinger. My apologies. Anything else?
Is this the longest term that is allowed, 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, why don't we just do longer?
It is the longest
Thank
we
you.
can do. Time just flies.
Yeah.
It feels like we just did it, I know.
And how often do we have to take funds from one budget from elementary to the high school?
Every year.
That's a normal thing.
That's a normal thing. Without this agreement, it would be very difficult to function. And it goes both ways. Elementary to high school and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's an essential agreement. And it's something that each school district has because it just allows for a better allocation, more effective, efficient allocation of expenses.
One final thing, can you, I know this is based in law, but is there any reason that legislatures couldn't be approached to do away with the need for this?
They could. I guess. I never thought about it, to be honest. It's like a second nature to me, so I never thought of the option of doing with it without. And I see your point. If we're one district, why do I need
Yeah,
an agreement
Yeah.
to say, yeah, we're one district?
and I think most are.
But we aren't really, right, because we're the high school district and the elementary.
Elementary on financial statements are two different
Yeah.
entities making one
That's why.
full entity. It's a great point. I never
It's kind of like divisions in a company,
Yeah,
they don't need an interlocal.
exactly. Yes, yeah. Yeah, good point.
Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions? Is there any public comment? Back to the board for discussion or motion?
Make a motion that we accept as amended. as-
I second it.
Moved by Shannon, seconded by Rainey, all in favor,
Aye.
everybody. Thank you, thanks Rainey.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just, I saw it about 20 minutes before this meeting. I never scrolled all the way
So
down.
Gary, you make those.
Me too. Sorry about it. Okay, agenda item E.
Whitefish School District Performing Arts Center Endowment.
Presented for the board's consideration is the establishment of the Whitefish School District Performing Arts Center Maintenance Endowment Fund to be held at the Whitefish Community Foundation. As the name suggests, the fund will be restricted for maintenance projects at the Performing Arts Center, which is on the second floor of this building. This endowment fund has been made possible by a $20,000 donation from the Whitefish Arts Council upon its dissolution. That's how we came up with the initial funding, with the initial funding. Comes from the Whitefish Arts Council, because they ceased to exist. So, distributions from the fund are not allowed until the balance reaches $30,000. So it will be a nest egg that hopefully will grow. And once the balance is $30,000, over $30,000, we can start taking distributions from that fund to help out with those maintenance projects upstairs, which can be costly as well. Any questions?
Probably.
I guess I don't know why, but I'm confused. I've read it and who is the Whitefish Community Foundation then, who's managing? Is it you or is it them? It's still them, even though the other places all, they're still
Yes.
okay, that's what I was just like, I'm
Whitefish
confused with. who's
Arts
in charge of it.
Council dissolved,
Got
has $20,000 in the bank. They said, we wish to give this to the performing arts. And the best way to do this is to run it from the community.
Got it, okay.
It has a number of advantages, one of them clearly being, I don't have to manage it, or we don't have to manage it, but you also have that third party who serves, it's your internal controls. Somebody else is holding the money. So I think it's the best way.
You think it's the best way, okay.
And this is not the only endowment fund that the school district has at the Whitefish Community Foundation. We have a couple of others.
Okay. I'm like, what does help there? Is it?
And Whitefish, yes.
Darcy, I have a question.
Yes, Rainey?
How soon is it expected that we would hit the $30,000 so that fund might be tapped into? Or like who invests it? I guess.
Many years.
Well, the other idea is that maybe, it could be promoted and people could donate to the fund
Yes.
as a nonprofit, or they could fundraise for the fund, right? The PAC could fundraise for the fund
Yes.
and get to that $30,000 faster. And then they could start pulling off of it.
Correct. So as Darcy said, interest income is not the only way the fund can grow.
So is that something that the district would promote as a tax exempt donation so that it might grow faster?
We could certainly do that. There is nothing that is stopping us from.
Letting people know it's available if
Yeah,
they wanted
it's
to put money
available,
towards it,
yes.
or, and there are certain community members that are highly vested in the PAC that might be interested in, adding to it.
Great.
What other endowments do we have with the community foundation?
Shouldn't have said that, right?
Yes. Well, I don't have to know immediately.
I'll get back to you on
Okay,
that.
that's
It's a
fine.
number of them,
Okay,
perhaps one.
I'm just curious.
You know, they have a minimum, the 15,000 to open it, yeah.
Who has the minimum?
I don't know, it says fund minimum, the fund may be open to $15,000.
Yeah, we have 20,000.
Oh,
Yeah. Then yes.
yeah, awesome.
Any other clarifying questions? Any public comment? Tax manager?
Not that.
Back to the board for the discussions, or?
I just think it's amazing that, again, in Whitefish of the community, that you have a arts, and then they just give 20,000. I mean, I don't know, it's unfortunate. It will save the people money in the long run
Yes.
and so I don't know, it's just kind of mind blowing to me that you live in a community where they said, well, let's put 20,000 for future issues. I don't know, it's just,
And
I think it's very fortunate.
Infrastructure for
Yeah.
building it, and managing it,
Yeah.
that's great.
It's pretty incredible, and sitting on the PAC committee, it is an expensive
It's very.
it's an expensive operation up there, the curtains, the lighting, the rigging, the this and the that, the lifts, I don't know, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that you don't think about, you know, or even just carpeting, which you do maybe think about, but just, you know, wear and tear of different things. So it put that into the upkeep and trying to manage all that, on top of just the normal school stuff, it really is, this is a huge benefit, so, this is incredible. It's an incredible ability to hopefully lean into. So, yes, thank you to the Arts Council for gifting us this $20,000. Yeah, I move we approve. I'll second. Moved by Katie, seconded by Elizabeth, and all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody? Okay, up next, kind of following right along, is the Performing Arts Center Endowment Fund Advisors.
So this agenda item concerns the appointment of 2 fund advisors from the school district to the newly established endowment fund, as stipulated in the agreement. It's one of the conditions. The fund advisors will have access to the online fund portal, meaning we can see what activities, what the balances are. They will have the ability to request annual distributions once time comes. And they will have the responsibility to account for grant expenses. I recommend the appointment of Micah Groschav, Performing Arts Center Manager, and myself, Lucy Shea, Director of Business, as fund advisors for the newly established.
Any questions about those appointments? No, any public comment on that? I have to ask.
Okay.
It's the law. Back to the board for discussion.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I agree, it sure does.
We're very
I
lucky.
agree.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there a motion on that sensical, is that a word, sensical?
Sensical.
Sensical?
Sounds like.
Sensical, sounds like I just watched Wicked.
I move we approve. Yeah.
I second. Moved by Katie, seconded by Quincy, all in favor?
Aye.
That is everybody. Thank you, Lucy and Micah. Hopefully we have enough money in there soon for you to use those, that advisor status.
I did talk to Micah before I appointed him.
Well, that was good.
Oh, that's funny.
He said yes.
Yeah, he's like, yes, that money in there. Up next, the gift agreement for the swim program.
Presented for the board's consideration and approval is the renewal of an agreement between the district and Whitefish swim team. For the agreement, a donation of $15,000 will be transferred to the district to fund the swimming program for the 24-25 season. Any questions?
Yes, I do not understand this at all. So down under use of funds,
Okay.
first of all, we talk about the swim team, but then we're talking about baseball, softball, and swimming. And then down at the bottom, it says the funds may be only used for activities described above and may not be used for any other activities or purposes. If the funds raised and or donated by the donor do not cover all 3 sports, none of the sports will be funded for the year, and the district will not offer those activities to the students.
So.
I don't get it.
And all is good. I'm just gonna say
Okay.
it right up front. So the reason why the clause, talking about baseball and softball is included in the swim contract.
Right.
And the other 2, contracts have swim included in the narrative.
So each of the 3 organizations have the same contract.
Yes. They have exactly the same condition, saying it's either all of us or none. And it has to do with federal Title IX.
Right, I get that.
laws.
So each of the groups is raising their own
Yes.
separate money.
That is correct. So we have swim tonight. We had the baseball
Baseball,
contract
yeah.
last time, and
Yeah.
we already have a commitment from softball for a contract renewal, and that should be presented at the next meeting in January.
Okay. But
So-
if any one of the three should happen to not raise enough money to fund the program, all three programs are nixed.
Correct, because it would throw off the balance
Yeah,
between
with
girls and
silos.
boys sports.
Interesting.
I've had people ask me, so this is just a clarifying question. I think I know the answer, but they've asked me. Would we ever consider having the sports that are self-funded rotate? So for example. Another sport would be the ones that raise their money and then we would fund these sports.
I mean, an
They've asked
established
me like,
sport.
yes, like, would we ever consider
It's
a
a
rotation
rotation.
cycle? Of which ones have to raise their own money and I wonder, our activity. People have heard similar conversations, because they come up and I just, for clarifying purposes, what is our position on that?
I personally have no position. I think director of activities would be probably the best person to run this by.
Okay,
Okay, something to explore, but thank you for sharing the comments and input from the community. I personally have never heard that.
Okay.
But, nobody talks to me about sports.
We allowed that.
Yeah, because, Eden, have you ever heard that? Can we?
Maybe,
I think you should ask Eric.
okay,
Yeah, great.
that's what I'll tell you. Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, is there any other clarifying questions? Is there any public comment? If I have to ask. Just thought I was asking fun in the past, didn't you? Back to the board for further discussion or motion.
I move that we accept the charitable gift agreement.
Moved by Elizabeth, seconded by Quincy, all in favor?
Aye.
And good job, swim team for raising all that money.
When we went on vacation. The rest of who was the person who seconded? Was it you or was it? Thank you. Thank you.
Wasn't me.
No, it was on this side of the table, the left side's been very active.
What page are you starting?
Oh, confused. All right, personnel recommendations for hire.
So,
I can touch on those if you'd like.
Oh, Dave.
okay, go ahead, Dave.
Give it a try since it's so fun. I get to look and see all of you at once. It's kind of a whole different view. But yeah, you see some personnel recommendations there in front of you. One for a guest teacher. And now, that is so funny. Now that I said that, everything has gone to wide view. Now I can't see my document in front of me.
You want us to tell you?
We have the name, Dave.
Yep, go ahead.
So,
We have a lunchroom supervisor and a substitute.
All right. Any questions for me?
Any questions? No. Any public comment? No, awesome. Back to the board for a motion.
I move we accept these hires as presented.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by Elizabeth. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That is everybody. Okay, on to trustee reports. Oh, good. I'm gonna get into this before Quincy can leave. That's good, because I got a lot of things to say. All right, first of all, we have, I'm gonna go in the opposite order real fast. We are starting the superintendent evaluation process. So all of you should have received Dave's evaluation. And then if not, let me know that I sent out to you. And then today I followed up with another email, so check and make sure you receive that as well, please. Okay, so that was the first thing, because that was fast. And then, as we had our meeting last night for the transportation K-12 Connect, and then we are going to have a committee, and then we're going to be forming a task force. We need 2 trustees to be on that task force. It is looking like it will be, the time period will be in the evening, about an hour and a half long meetings, I believe. Dave, are going to be monthly?
The task force, I anticipate possibly only 2 meetings.
Okay, so it'll be like 2 meetings, the 18th and what, like hopefully maybe December 18th and then one in January.
Correct, and one in January. We're hoping for something on December 18th. We'll do our best. If that doesn't work for folks, of course, we would have to change that date, but that would be our first targeted date to see if we could hold a meeting then. And then potentially, I'm thinking of one more meeting, and then we'd move into a much smaller group that's an ongoing committee.
To volunteer to be on that committee. Are there any? I can do it. Elizabeth and Shannon?
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I do know a thing about transportation.
Thank you so much. Dave, we got Elizabeth and Shannon on that.
Wow.
Great.
Thank you. I know. Rainey, do you really want to do that?
I was gonna volunteer.
We'll
But,
get you on the next one.
okay, sounds like a plan.
All right. And then in front of you, there is the, like your ears, even everyone acts surprised when you get this in your email box. The holiday or the thank you note from the trustees to the staff. Are there any corrections? If the first line's kind of a little funny, but if there's anything we want to change.
Doesn't Quincy's last name have 2 T's in it?
Why it does, Rainey, thank you.
Yes,
Quincy, I'm
it
so
does.
sorry. I was gonna bring it up. I didn't know this was gonna be.
And my name is misspelled too.
Oh, geez.
I'm not Bosk. It's Bob.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's I see it.
My dyslexia didn't see that, Jerry.
I write how I say it.
You write it the way I teach kids. Box itch.
Ah, Boston. Right.
Worked really well.
Our appreciation for what you do each and every day, we can't, oh, well, never mind, I can't read it.
I like simple.
I was trying to go for the very good.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's great.
Yes.
Conversational, if not. Yeah, I think that's great.
But I'm happy for any change. Shannon, do you want to Shannonize it?
No, I'm good.
Do you want to commonize?
I'm going to ignore the exclamation point.
Thank you, Shannon.
We really need
Very
it.
well placed. I think it's well placed.
It is.
Okay.
I wanted to put 2, but I didn't because of you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, BOKSICH.
The okay as I see it.
All right.
Thank you for writing it.
Yeah.
I will make one small add.
Yes.
It appears that there are, again, 2 spaces after a bidding.
Yes.
We don't do that one.
I know, but I'm old.
And I don't do it.
I can't not. It's just a thing.
It doesn't look bad.
It looks correct. It is.
It's the way you want it to type.
I know why, I don't know, but it's so embarrassing. I did not do that.
What?
My name is bigger.
You know you're the president. It's okay.
Good job, Darcy.
It is not on this one that I sent them. Great. It's so embarrassing.
So do we need to approve this?
Yes, this is approved. Just
I
that with
will-
my name really big, please.
Yeah, I move that we approve this letter to the district staff as a holiday. Well, agreed
With the corrections of them.
with the corrections made.
Awesome, thank you. Second.
Or second.
Okay, moved by Jerry, seconded by Katie. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, and one last thing that's not printed on here. We have, Dave, you're not here, so you'll have to wait. But Lucy, we have a holiday appreciation from all of us for you. I would just, we appreciate you. I mean, thank you. So we could not run our district as well as you and run our board. We can do without you and your support and. Thank you very much. So much gratitude. Yes.
Holiday to all of you, and likewise, I couldn't do what I do if I didn't have your support.
Thank you. Thank you. And Dave, just so you know, you're not left out. Here's yours.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I can put it on, yeah, I could drop it off and put it over there.
At the end of the drive.
Yeah, Quincy's gonna put it on the end of your driveway.
Okay.
Oh, we analyze that afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's a safe distance, it sounds, yeah.
And Dave, we shared their gifts to them.
Yes,
yes,
thank
yes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, there.
Jake,
Yeah.
that's yours.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that's yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave, for all you do for our district.
Yes.
Thank you. Back
Feels
to you,
very
all of
weird
you.
to not have you here.
It is really unusual to be in this position, so,
I really hope that broken up speech is because of electronic. Boy, you sound terrible.
no, actually, I was gonna say, you sound great, I can hear you, so.
You.
You sound terrible.
You sound terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's pretty funny. It makes you sound sicker. Any other trustee report?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Go for it, Jerry.
Okay, Lisa and I attended the education forum with the legislators down at the Flathead Electric Co-op large building. There were many legislators in attendance, probably 10 of them. Our own Mr. Fern was there. And they were very interesting. They listened very attentively. All the superintendents from the surrounding area were there. And each superintendent spoke to a different area. The superintendents really made their plea for raising the 3% funding that we're getting, pointing out the difference between our funding and what inflation is. They talked a lot about the quality education payments to bring salaries up. It's called the STARS Act that's going to be out there. And they want to bring beginning teachers up to $42,000 at least, which we're already there, aren't we? And passed. There in this bill, the STARS bill, there may be some money for housing in there, and also they talked about stackable credits, which are the high school college credits that you get, stackable credits. They talked about IDEA. I guess I did not realize that initially when IDEA was put into place, 40% of it was supposed to be paid by the federal government. At this time, it's only 13%. So that means it's falling back on the state and the local to make that money up. So they talked about that, making a plea to the legislators. They all, an interesting one, apparently 6th grade is funded as elementary. And one of the pleas that was made was that 6th grade be included with 7th and 8th grade, because it's a different funding formula. And so they would like it to be funded with 6th and 7th grade. There was a really interesting discussion about how repairs to schools have been long delayed, and that there's not money in many school budgets for repairs. And one of the suggestions that was brought up, for example, one of the schools that spoke, the superintendent of Kyla, who's 33 years old, this sweet young thing, said, you know, with 100 students and then staff, we have 4 bathrooms in the whole room for all of the people, 2 for boys and 2 for girls, and that's it. And they don't have money, they can't pass a levy to do anything about it. So the suggestion was, apparently we have to spend our entire budget each year. And if you are frugal and you end up with extra money, it goes back to the state, correct?
Unless you make a transfer to the interlocal fund and keep your reserves there.
Well,
Yes.
one of the suggestions was that if you were frugal and had extra money, that it could perhaps go into a repair, a fund for repairs, school repairs, so that eventually some of these things could get repaired. John Fuller was there, who's the chairman of the education department, the education committee, and he was kind of interesting. He said the governor is definitely looking at, funding education. But he said, a curious thing that Lisa and I discussed. Yes, there will be funding for education, but it will have strings attached. Is what he said. He said, I don't know what the strings are, but it'll have strings attached. And, an interesting thing that he said is, the constituents must show up if you want a bill passed. He said, faces make a difference at the Senate. If there's a bill we're really passionate about, you need to get everybody there and they need to see your eyes and they need to see your face. And he said, in person is the very best. The worst is an email. He said, it's in person. Zoom is a far distant second to being a good way to be there. A letter is third, and they talk like email was. And of course, most of these legislators, I would have to say, are well into their 60s, perhaps their 70s.
I bet they like double spaces.
Uh-huh.
They do.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, one request was, one legislator asked us all, do you still teach the Constitution in school? And Lisa and I said, yeah, well, you have a whole class on American government. I said, oh, dish out. We didn't say that back, but that was one of his big things, is that we need to be teaching the Constitution because kids don't know. It was a very interesting meeting with lots of good ideas on, talking about ways, giving the legislators an idea of what the problems are in the schools and how they can help us.
Yeah, thank you both for being
there.
there. I'm curious about the process. Is it the Montana School Board Association or the Montana Administrators Association, or what organization?
It was the Montana superintendents, because
Okay,
Lori Barron ran the meeting.
and they get
and
together and
each
create a
of-
platform?
Each of the superintendents spoke to a different area. One spoke to IDEA, one spoke to K-12 funding. They each spoke to a different topic
Got it.
and gave some input, and then other people chimed in the audience. And there were superintendents from just about everywhere.
All around the Northwest.
Yeah, all around.
Did they discuss state holidays and let
And
people
state board,
go
and,
to-
and school boards.
Right,
Yeah.
There are a lot of.
Did they
committees
discuss
there.
what?
Oh, just, state holidays to let people travel to help.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm
No, and
Yeah,
that
everybody's
was,
saying everybody has to
Yeah.
show up, is that
Yeah.
nobody has jobs.
and that was one of the things that,
Yeah.
one of the parents or board members spoke up and said, but, teachers can't, they're teaching, they can't just go there. And the response
Just
was something like,
motivation.
get parents
Yes.
there, was their response.
Well, parents have jobs too.
Yeah,
I know, it's like so toned down.
but their response was, if you want something passed, you gotta be there.
Yeah.
That was very
That's why I
definitely,
Because
You.
was very definitely loud and clear,
And,
right,
and he
Lisa?
talked, yes, and he talked about how Medicaid and
Oh, yes.
reducing property taxes are competing for education
Yes,
dollars.
he did talk about that. He said there's many things competing, and,
Yes.
that was just sort of a little cloud over us.
So, yeah,
That,
The only other thing I would like to add, Jerry, is that the school districts also spoke up about the appreciation for the targeted early
Yes,
literacy
they did.
funding. And how
Talked
that
about
was a positive thing. Even though there were some hiccups because we had to have them identified by the end of June. And so we couldn't let kids in after the end of June for September. And the Jumpstart Summer Program, and Lori Barron spoke to that, and she said, give us a little bit more time, and I think you'll really see school districts take full advantage of that. But she stressed how important that she thought that funding was, and that it was successful, and it will continue to be successful. But to give us the opportunity to show that.
It basically, she said that OPI put some roadblocks in
Yes.
front of people being able to fully access the program because of deadlines they set and conditions they set. And a lot of people weren't able to meet those because they were unrealistic to do. But yes, she did say very, very important. And she talked about their program. They have one in Evergreen.
And we will look to, I know that we do have that early literacy program at Muldown. We will, I know that Dave and I have spoken about that Jumpstart program, which is a summer program for students in grades K through 3. And you have to identify them through a specific test that we actually already give our students. The DIBELS test is that test that we could identify students that would need extra support in reading, and that's something that we can look at doing this summer.
So a way to continue our summer school
Correct.
program. It was very interesting.
It was, yeah, I was glad they'd asked me to go to this place.
That's. I do have one more announcement I forgot. The National School Board Association National Conference is in Atlanta this year. In April, usually, yeah, it's not coming up on my. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there if you guys, if anyone is interested, or Rainey, if you're interested in that, you've never been to the National School Board Association before as a new board member, Elizabeth. If you are interested in going, no. Yeah. So anyway, it's just something to think about, and I can't give you any information because it's.
Their website's down.
Their website, okay, it's down for you, not just me. I did for 2 spaces.
I would really encourage people.
Yeah, I
to
would
go.
It's great, it's
great.
amazing. So anyways, just kind of look at that, nsba.org and, see if the dates work. Atlanta's fine.
Mhm.
Do you remember when in April?
It's usually in the beginning of
Yeah,
April.
Right,
usually
usually-
the first week or so.
Mhm.
Be
So-
great if people would-
We're gonna go, that's fun.
Yes,
That's right. Before we move on, I just wanted to say, and Jake already mentioned it, last night it was so apparent that everybody had worked so hard to get ready for that meeting and to set up for that meeting, and so I just wanted to thank you all for working really hard. It showed.
It was a good meeting.
1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5-to-1 if you count chairs. But that was good.
Yeah. it was very-
Thank you all for all your work.
Yeah, you obviously worked really hard getting ready. Thanks.
Thanks for your guys' participation and looking forward to the next steps that we have.
Thank you. Any other trustee announcements? Awesome. All right, Dave, are you ready to do your superintendent report from afar?
I am if my speech is not too garbled. Is it okay?
It's okay,
It's
but
okay.
don't make us suffer for too long.
Okay.
It's your microphone.
It's just
Yeah.
your microphone or something.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know why.
okay.
Is this any better? Yeah.
It's okay.
But it's
It's okay, we'll live with it.
All right, I just want to mention that, first, it was mentioned earlier, this week and going into the holidays, there's a lot of our staff moving through our hallways with a heavy heart. And I'm glad that was brought up this, earlier today, and I think, passing of one of our colleagues, but I also appreciate what was shared earlier too. Our staff come together, support one another during this time as well. And our community always comes together during these times as well. So, community within our schools and outside of our schools. And our thoughts are with the family. So, I also wanted to thank every one of you, the trustees and our administrators. And like you mentioned, the work that went into last night was a good example of teamwork, coming together to put together something that would create the most beneficial opportunity for productive and meaningful conversation. And a lot of thought went into that so that we could have those conversations in a way where we could hear many voices and capture those voices as we move forward. As Mr. Brandstetter said, we're looking forward to the next steps together. One of the greatest things that I've discovered this recently here is that Jake does such an outstanding job. I don't really need to go over these calendars or upcoming meeting events whatsoever. What an outstanding job, Jake. And last night you demonstrated such skill in sharing information as well. You ever thought about education, school leadership? Those are some good options.
Considering it.
All right. Well, I also want to, we'll touch on enrollment here quickly. As you look at that enrollment document, really is not a lot of fluctuation. A little less than I think that we've had in the past, but you do see 9 students enrolled, 12 withdrawn, and those are the typical kind of fluctuations we see. We're fairly steady within, I think, is it 10 from the beginning of the year or something like that? It's fairly close overall. So we'll see that fluctuate a little bit. So, oh no, we're within, is that 4 from the beginning of the year? So we'll see this fluctuate and we'll see what happens as we move through the year. The February count is another date count that we'll look at closely. Any questions about enrollment at all? All right, and let's see. But it does point out, again, I was looking at one quick thing on enrollment. I looked at that again, and yeah, it is really clear we'll be approaching 690 to 700 easily. That's not even including new students coming from outlying areas. So we're definitely approaching 700, could be more next year at the high school. We are preparing for that. In fact, next week, we begin discussing a little bit of our staffing ratios and things like that, our budgets, our beginning estimates of our budgets. We just start beginning that process and as we move into the new year. Okay. I think that's covered everything. You can see resignations there. And I think that's it. Any questions for me?
Dave, thank you.
Glad you're hanging in there.
Yeah, feel better soon.
All
Yeah,
right.
it sounds like I sound worse than I am. I'm feeling pretty good tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Lucy, it's your turn.
Thank you. Financial report for November. So this report it doesn't include all the real estate tax revenues received by the treasurer. And that's because of the timing of when this report needs to be prepared and the time when I received those county reports. So all the cash, the total cash balances and revenues should be or are as of right now about $4 million higher than you can see on those spreadsheets. Those revenues will take care of many of the negative cash balances in many of those funds. I would like to say something about miscellaneous fund number 115, which is the fifth one from the top on page 1. You know that's the fund where grants live. And we always wait for a reimbursement from OPI to reimburse those expenditures. So very often those balances are negative. But what you can see when you look at that, going back to July, that negative balance is actually increasing. And the reason is that OPI, not sure what's going on there, but they haven't processed any reimbursements yet. So that's the reason why that number is so high. I'm hoping that December will be the month when we'll finally receive reimbursements for since the beginning of the school year. We've been going back to June, so just in case you see, well, this is not getting better, this is getting worse, that's why. But I think we're on the cusp of getting the result with OPI. Any questions about the results?
Just wanted to comment that there may be, because I was gone for the last meeting, but when we were sitting in with these bond meetings of the D. Davidson and talking about the S&P and these forms that we fill out, one of the things they talk about is our financials and our audit reports and how important all those are for our bond rating and then the rates we'll get. And that the better our audit reports are, the better our financial reporting is, the better rates we get, better, all that stuff flows into our bonding and all that stuff. So as we go out for a bond, after we, the voters have approved the bond, but then when it goes out to the market, all this work really does, I think we look at it on paper all the time, we're like, yeah, it's always great, and you don't always know like what the outcome of it can be, and the outcome of it can be that when we do better rates, we can get better rates when they're out there on the bond looking for a bond market. So in rates and looking for loans and whatnot. So it was kind of neat to hear G. Davidson talk about, our audit reports being so good and like never having findings and that kind of stuff, and how that really does come back to benefit the district and what a benefit that is to us. So thank you.
So we appreciate Lucy's work.
Yeah, it was just another. It was
And so did D.A. Davidson, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they complimented her work as well, but it was just like another real world reason to know how important it is. And, yeah. And how lucky we are. So
It's, it's always a teamwork. I'm not.
No, we-
one woman show.
very much. That's we appreciate it. You're the overseer of. Yes. So, yeah. So thanks, Casey. The consent agenda. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Back to the board for a motion.
I move we approve.
I'll second.
Moved by Katie, seconded by Shannon. All in favor?
Aye.
That's everybody. And one last motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Moved by Jen, seconded by Katie. That is everybody. I'm gonna guess Rainey's gonna say yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Venus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay safe, feel
Get
better.
well.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh,
Better
poor guy.
microphone.
I couldn't hear you there. Take
Get a
care.
better microphone.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Maybe hearing them too.
Oh my gosh, Jared, he's our door.